All right, let's just jump right into this. I want you to picture a scenario for a second. You're sitting at home, totally normal Tuesday afternoon, and suddenly your phone buzzes. At first, you think it's just another spam email, something to swipe away, but you look down, you open it, and your heart honestly almost stops. A massive company wants to hire you. And not next year, not after a grueling 6-round interview process, right now. The offer is completely pre-approved, the job is yours, and you're staring at a screen that is about to change your life forever. Because the salary sitting right there in your inbox is just absolutely staggering. $2 million a year. I mean, let that sink in for just a second. You probably read it once, twice, maybe a third time just to make sure your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. This is the kind of number most people will literally never see in their entire lifetimes. And you get that euphoric rush, right? That instant relief just spreading through your body like electricity. Because in a matter of seconds, every earthly financial problem you've ever had just vanishes. Student loans, gone. That massive mortgage, totally paid off. Retirement worries, completely erased. You can immediately picture the house you're going to buy, the vacations, the absolute total freedom that kind of money creates. For most of us, this isn't just a job offer. This is the ultimate dream. But of course, there's a catch, and it's a big one. The company wants an answer incredibly fast. You have exactly 48 hours to sign this contract. All this wealth, all this absolute freedom is completely yours if you just put your name on the dotted line within 2 days. So the clock is ticking. You open the document, and at first, everything looks totally normal. The salary, the benefits, the executive travel, it's all there, confirming you just struck gold. But then you start to notice the contract is unusually long, way longer than a standard agreement. Now, most people might just skip straight to the signature page to secure that $2 million, but curiosity pushes you forward. And that brings us to the very first red flag, a section titled Availability Requirements. Now, plenty of important jobs require flexibility, right? That's normal. But then you look a little closer at the actual wording. It says the employee must remain available to the company at all times. They mean 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays, weekends, vacations, your kid's birthday, 0 exceptions. If the company contacts you, you don't get to respond the next morning or even in a few hours. You are expected to respond immediately. And that creeping dread starts to set in as you realize you are quite literally always on the clock. But here's where human psychology really takes over. Your brain starts making excuses. You think, well, it's $2 million. Maybe that's just the price of massive success. So you justify the 24/7 availability and you keep reading, which leads you to the next section, confidentiality. Now, protecting trade secrets is totally standard, but as you read through these paragraphs, the language gets incredibly aggressive. No talking to friends, no talking to family, obviously no journalists. And then you hit a sentence that just makes you stop completely in your tracks. Let me read this to you exactly as it's written. You may not discuss confidential work experiences with therapists or mental health professionals without company authorization. Think about that. This completely shatters the illusion of a normal job. You are legally barred from speaking to a medical professional about your work life without asking your boss for permission first. So I really have to ask you, why on earth would a company care what you tell a therapist? What exactly happens inside this workplace that requires this deeply unnatural level of secrecy? For the first time, this deep discomfort and paranoia really starts to set in. You're staring at a document that actively isolates you from getting professional help.
Let's actually step back for a quick second because this highlights a really fascinating concept in this explainer. Why would anyone even keep reading at this point? Well, psychologists call this reward bias. It's this wild psychological tendency where an enormous potential reward causes highly intelligent people to minimize or just completely ignore glaringly obvious warning signs. We become so intensely focused on what we could gain that our brains literally stop processing what we might lose. It's why investors ignore massive market bubbles, and it's exactly why you'd still be rationalizing these terrifying red flags. The massive payout is completely blinding you.
Okay, let's jump back in and see how this builds. You plunge back into the text and hit the surveillance policies section. Now, a company reserving the right to monitor company devices? Sure, totally standard practice. But the very next sentence crosses a massive, massive boundary. The contract explicitly states they may monitor personal devices used during employment, your personal phone, your personal laptop, your tablet, basically your entire personal life. The realization slowly sinks in like a cold weight in your stomach. The company isn't just buying your labor anymore. They are buying access to your entire life. They're watching everything. Yet somehow, the signature line is still calling your name. Because every single concern you have keeps crashing into that exact same wall, $2 million. You start thinking, maybe I could just try it out, and if it's too much, I can just quit, right? But then you arrive at the section that changes absolutely everything, the termination clause. It says, if you leave the company, the confidentiality requirements remain in effect indefinitely, and the penalty for violating them, $10 million. Just let that hit you like a truck for a second. Not 10,000, not 100,000, $10 million. If you slip up, if you just vent to the wrong person on a bad day, they will completely ruin you financially. And, of course, the contract doesn't stop there. The wording is intentionally, terrifyingly broad. It states, any disclosure deemed harmful by the company may trigger legal action. So the crucial point here is, deemed harmful by whom? The company itself. They hold absolutely all the cards. They're the sole judge, jury, and executioner on what constitutes a $10 million mistake. This is where the psychological whiplash really takes hold. Just a few short hours ago, you thought you were evaluating a dream job. But now it feels a whole lot more like you're evaluating a trap. The salary suddenly seems entirely different. It's not a reward anymore. It's compensation. It's the literal price tag for willingly giving up your fundamental human autonomy. Which brings us to the core of this whole explainer. What exactly is freedom worth? We all like to think our freedom has no price, right up until someone actually offers us one. And the truly fascinating part is that neither choice here is obviously right. If you walk away, you might spend the rest of your life checking your bank account wondering what if. But if you sign that contract, you might spend the rest of your life wondering what you've lost. It's not really about the money anymore. It's about human nature and that crazy moment where opportunity and danger become completely impossible to separate. So let's put the metaphorical pen right back in your hand. The contract is sitting right there in front of you. The salary is very, very real. The company is waiting. One signature could change your life forever. The only question left is the one absolutely nobody can answer for you. Would you sign a contract worth $2 million a year if it slowly gave someone else